Did you get in a car accident? How can you ensure that you get the settlement that you deserve? Hi, I'm Jeff Hampton with the Fulgham Hampton Law Group. Today I want to talk to you on our YouTube channel about how to double your injury settlement in Texas. Now, listen, when you get into a car accident, we all know it's a traumatic experience. And many times you're not thinking clearly about what it is that you need to do. Well, I think it's important that these specific secrets that I'm going to tell you about here today, if you're not careful, you can totally ruin the value of your insurance settlement if you get in a car accident. So let's talk about these. Secret number one, let's jump right into this. Never trust the insurance adjuster. Now, we all know that if you get into an accident and you have property damage or personal injuries, the insurance adjuster is going to be one of the first people who is going to want to talk to you. And look, I'm not necessarily making judgment about insurance companies, but I want you to understand one of the ways that insurance companies makes money, the way they make money is to avoid paying out on claims. We all know this. But did you also know, I think it's important to understand that many of these insurance adjusters actually make money. Their pay and their performance is judged by how little they pay out. Now, most people don't realize that, but I want you to understand you need to listen to what the insurance adjuster is saying. Don't get me wrong, you do need to listen to what they're saying when you talk to them, but never trust their advice. I mean, think about it. If this person on the phone that you're talking to, their performance and their pay is based upon how little they pay you, you can't trust everything that they say. They are actually incentivized not to pay out a full settlement. So realize that. In fact, some insurance companies may limit or suspend an insurance adjuster's authority to settle on a claim if they do not consistently settle cases with the lowest payouts. Not to spend too much time on this, but listen, if the average loss payout of that insurance adjuster is on the low end, that insurance adjuster is going to make less money in bonuses. They could be docked for performance. And why does this matter? Never trust the insurance adjuster's offer of settlement. One of the things they're trained to do is to try to get you on the phone, get you to commit to certain things that happened in the accident, and then immediately have you accept some type of settlement. For example, we represented a client who was a passenger in a car that had been broadsided by another driver at an intersection. The impact caused her airbags to deploy. And when all the airbags went off, the side curtain airbags caused severe burns to her legs, her arm, and part of her face. She was transported to the hospital. She received treatment. She was released. Initially, this poor old lady, very nice, she thought, hey, it would be a smart thing to just be upfront, talk to the insurance company, go ahead and get in touch with the adjuster and try to resolve everything. However, after speaking to the insurance adjuster, they didn't even offer her enough money in settlement to cover the cost of her unpaid medical expenses that weren't covered by her insurance, her regular medical insurance. They told her that they had, quote, set aside $30,000 for her settlement. This poor old lady almost accepted that insurance adjuster's offer, and if she had done so, she wouldn't have even been able to cover all of her bills. Now, after contacting our office, we were able to help her more than triple her settlement with the insurance company. Now, here's one of the questions that I get is, what if the insurance adjuster is being nice? What if this person I'm talking to is very nice? They seem to care about my situation. Can't I trust him then? Be careful. They are trained to be nice. I mean, think about it. This is what they're trained to do. They're trained to listen to what you say, show empathy towards you and your situation. However, you cannot count on the fact that whatever offer that they're going to make to you is going to be fair. But here's what you can count on. They know what is fair, and they are assuming you don't. They are going to try to prey on your lack of expertise and knowledge about what a fair settlement amount is, and they're going to try to capitalize on that for a lower settlement amount. You need an experienced and aggressive personal injury attorney that can make sure you're being treated fairly and receive a fair settlement. Now, what if the insurance adjuster tells you that they have denied liability on the claim and that you're not entitled to a settlement at all? By all means, never trust that opinion. Okay? If they tell you, well, we're not going to pay anything at all, just head on down your way. It's all in your pocket. You got to figure it out. Insurance companies look for any technical reason they can to deny liability. For example, we represented a client in a car accident case where the at-fault driver's insurance company denied the claim based upon their belief that the client did not cause the car accident at all. The client retained our law firm, came to us. We were then forced to file a lawsuit. But then during that process, during a lawsuit, once your attorney files that, there is something called discovery. Discovery is the opportunity that we have to obtain evidence by depositions and other evidence that helped us to be able to establish that case for liability. And we were then able to provide a $100,000 settlement for our client. Now look, here's my point. If that client had just believed what the insurance adjuster had said, they would have ended up with nothing. But because they went to an attorney that knew what they were doing and a lawsuit was filed, you were able to establish at that point some type of liability for a fair settlement. Now, what if the insurance adjuster tells you that there's only a certain amount of insurance available for your claim? Now look, they do this sometimes. They'll say, well, ma'am, I'm sorry, sir. We've only got $30,000 available for your claim. I want to ask you a question. How do you know they're being honest? How do you know that they're telling you the truth? You don't. Even if the insurance adjuster tells you what that actual maximum amount is under that policy, how do you know that there's not other available coverage for your recovery? Now, for example, we represented a client. I'm going to give you an illustration of this. This client we represented had been rear-ended by a man driving a truck. She received neck and back injuries and also a broken foot. Initially, we contacted the insurance company and provided the information, and they told us that there was a maximum recovery of $30,000 under the policy. However, we then filed a lawsuit. After filing that lawsuit and deposing the driver of that vehicle, of the truck, we were able to determine that the driver had been actually driving the truck to make a delivery for an employer. So they were actually in the process of making a delivery for the benefit of a business. So guess what happened? We were able to find separate liability coverage policy in order to be able to cover and provide more for our client in that situation. So we were now able to establish that the driver of the vehicle was operating that vehicle for the benefit of the employer, which kicked in that additional policy, thereby dramatically increasing the recovery for our client. Instead of a $30,000 recovery, remember what the theme of this is: don't trust the insurance adjuster. Instead of a $30,000 max recovery, our client was able to more than 3x her settlement value by us finding additional coverage. Now, that's secret number one. Secret number two, use the tools of a skilled negotiator. If you do choose to negotiate with the insurance adjuster, please be very careful what you say. This insurance adjuster is looking for any nuance in your language that they can use to capitalize on to justify a lower settlement. First, try to make the adjuster make the first offer. Don't ever start throwing out a number to the adjuster to begin with. No reason for you to do that. All skilled negotiators know that they have the most leverage when the opposing party makes the first offer. You know your floor, and you know now that they are willing to pay you more. I mean, think about it. If that's their first offer, they're willing to give you more. You at least know where you're starting. Now, occasionally the insurance adjuster will make a first offer that's reasonably fair. But even in that situation, you'll now have the opportunity to be able to negotiate the upper end of the settlement amount, okay? However, here's the problem. If you make an initial request that is too low, you will have effectively limited your opportunity to demand a fair resolution in the future. You've played your hand, right? You don't want to do that. For example, what if the adjuster has a maximum range of settlement of $75,000 for your case? Now, we're just speaking hypothetically here. Maximum $75,000, you throw out right out of the gate $40,000 as your offer. The adjuster, number one, is unlikely to agree to the $40,000. He will likely counter with like a $20,000 or maybe a $25,000 or less offer back to you. You will now have lost out on the opportunity to obtain $75,000 or more for your settlement because you were willing to accept a much lesser amount on a first offer. okay? So be careful. Let them make the first offer if you're going to choose to do that. And we here at the Fulgham Hampton Law Group, we always do that. We look to try to get the insurance company to try to come and make an offer to us initially, okay? Now, one common thing the adjuster looks for is what you claim you think you deserve for the settlement. Never say, look, let me just give you some negotiating advice here. Never say that you want a certain amount of money for your settlement. Always say that you need a particular amount of money for your settlement and have a bullet point list of verifiable reasons why that is the case. The word want, think about what that sounds like. The word want sounds greedy. It sounds like it's unjustifiable. It sounds like language that's not used by a skilled negotiator. The word need, though, when you start using the word need, that's based upon a minimum expectation of what is fair. Part of our job here at the FH Law Group, here at Fulgham Hampton Law Group, is to sit down with you and figure out what that need number is. We want to make sure you get what you need and what is fair for you. That then acts as our floor, the bottom number that we're looking to negotiate with the insurance company. Now, what if the adjuster, here's the last one I want to talk about in terms of negotiating. What if the adjuster asks you for a range of what is fair for your settlement? This is a trick. Don't fall for this. What do you think that adjuster is going to write down if you give them a range? Do you think they're going to write down the top number or the lower number? They're obviously going to go with the smaller number every single time. Okay, now secret number 3, always get medical treatment immediately. Listen, it's extremely common for people to want to minimize their injuries immediately after a car accident. You've just been hit. You've been traumatized. Your adrenaline is pumping and you want to believe that you're okay and you don't need any treatment, because that's one of the worries that people have when they first get in a car accident. It's also very common for people that have been in a car accident to not realize that they're going to have pain and that they've injured themselves to the extent that they have until the next day or sometime after the actual accident. The insurance adjuster will want to speak to you as soon as possible to try to get you to commit to being fine or only having some type of soft tissue pain, or maybe that the injuries that you sustained are isolated to a single area of your body. You cannot trust that assessment. Do not trust what they're trying to get. And by the way, you can't trust what you think at that moment because you're not a medical professional either. You are not in a place to know if you've sustained more injuries. You must get medical attention and have doctors evaluate you, run tests, and make certain that you do not have more extensive underlying conditions. Listen, I do not understand why people don't do this. I've had this happen so many times where I've had people call into our office, say, hey, Jeff, listen, I just got into a car accident. What should I do? The first thing I tell them is, hey, look, thanks for calling us, and we'll get you taken care of, but go see a doctor. And by the way, and I'm going to talk about this here in a minute, go see a doctor that knows what they're doing, because you need to make sure the situation that you're in. Number one, you want to make sure that you're okay. You need medical treatment to make sure that you're going to be okay medically. But secondly, it profoundly affects the value of your settlement if you don't get medical treatment immediately. Plus, your pain needs to be documented in medical records. You just saying that you're in pain, that's nowhere near as effective as a doctor putting it in a medical record, establishing that the pain and the injury was closely tied in time to the actual accident settlement or the accident claim, okay? Now, what if you don't initially complain of pain, but later on, what if you learn you had a herniated disc in your back? What if you find out you had an ACL or some type of MCL partial tear or some type of injury to yourself? I mean, at that point, you might need surgery or further medical attention. If you don't document those actual injuries, you'll have an uphill battle fighting with your insurance company or the at-fault insurance company, the driver that was at fault. You'll have a hard time being able to get a fair settlement value for your car accident. Now, if you are in doubt, here's the key. If you're in doubt that you got hurt, then you need to go get yourself checked out by a doctor. That's all there is to it. You need to go get it done. That's critically important to your case. Now, secret number 4, go to a doctor who knows what they're doing. You need to go to a doctor that knows what they're doing. Now, here's the reality of it all. Not all doctors are a fan of people coming to them for injury claims. In fact, there are some doctors that if they find out that you're coming there or that an attorney sent you, they'll actually make a notation in their records that you came based upon an auto injury claim, because some doctors think that victims or attorneys are only chasing money. Now, that's not fair to you, particularly if you're hurt and you have a right to be treated fairly. I mean, some doctors even become so upset when they find out that an attorney has referred a client over to get medical attention, and they think, oh, they even notated in the file, only here by referral of attorney. Wait a minute, I'm trying to understand. The doctor's role is to make sure someone's okay, to make sure they're healthy. Why would a medical doctor care about this? Isn't it their job to make sure that someone's okay? Beware if that's the type of person that you're going to talk to as a doctor. Another issue is to beware is regarding the doctor's interest in how you were injured. Listen, it is critical that your doctor knows that you are there to be seen because you were just in a car accident and that this was the reason why you sustained those injuries. Some doctors' offices don't even require as a basis for their injury, or they don't even require as a basis for their intake form to notate why you're there. You need to make sure, no matter what happens, I don't care if their intake form asks you this question or not, you need to make sure to always write down why you are there with an injury. Write down something on their form that you are there to be treated specifically for a car accident or whatever it is, dog bite, slip and fall, whatever the issue is that you're there because of the negligence of someone else. Whatever that issue might be, you need to write it down. And here's what happens. If you don't do that and then the doctor just doesn't list anything, the result is the doctor later claims that he or she didn't even know why you were there, that you just showed up and that you came in because you were hurt, but they can't say that it was because of a car accident. So the doctor that you see is extremely important to the value of your case. One doctor could claim that you only need minor treatment for your injury, while a more specialized doctor could be able to establish specific medical attention that is required, and that could rectify the problem. Thereby substantially increasing the value of your injury settlement and your future pain and suffering. Okay? If you're not comfortable with the doctor that you currently have, here's the thing. Fulgham Hampton Law Group, here at FH Law Group, we can get you in touch with specialized doctors to make sure, number one, that you heal, that you get the attention that you need, but number two, to make certain that you're treated fairly regarding your medical needs and your future concerns as it relates to your car accident settlement. Now, some people think that personal injury lawyers or people that have been injured are only out looking to game the system. Now, people only feel this way until they've been in a car accident themselves, until they've actually been injured due to the negligence of someone else. The system is designed to be fair, but it can only be fair to victims if they're treated fairly by all the parties that are involved, including the doctor, who must accurately determine the cause of the injury, current medical needs and pain and suffering, and future medical needs and pain and suffering. Okay, almost done here. Secret number 5, send jury verdicts that substantiate your settlement demands. Now, what do I mean by that? Listen, if you have access to Westlaw or LexisNexis or other resources, you can actually you can obtain jury verdicts that have facts in Texas that are similar to yours, and that information can be sent over to the insurance company, and it will help bolster your claim for a settlement value for your particular set of facts. Okay, it's hard for an insurance adjuster to argue where a jury made a value on a particular case that had similar injuries to yours. Okay? Now, secret number 6, and my final secret, negotiate your medical bills for a larger settlement. Now, here's the thing. Without the assistance of a personal injury attorney here in Texas, you may not realize you have the ability to negotiate with the hospital and the medical providers to provide a medical liability substantially lower than what you were billed. Some people think you have to always pay the same amount that someone billed you. Absolutely not. For example, we had a client that had over $300,000 in medical bills as a result of a serious truck accident. However, our law firm was able to contact the doctors, the hospital, and the other medical providers, and we negotiated the medical liability expenses to under $100,000. This substantially increased the take-home settlement value for our client. if she had tried to negotiate this directly on her own or with an attorney that didn't know how to do that, she would have lost out on a substantial amount of her recovery. Now, I gave you 6 secrets, okay? I hope this helps you. Listen, if you are facing a car accident, if you ran into a situation where literally someone else was at fault and they caused injuries to you, then I want to invite you to call the Fulgham Hampton Law Group. Here at FH Law Group, we will give you a free case analysis, a free consultation. And listen, there's no cost to you. This is you're not going to have to pay anything for us to help you with this. We work on a contingency fee basis, and we would be happy to help you with your case. If you're interested, give us a call at the Fulgham Hampton Law Group at 817-697-4400. I want to thank you for joining us here today. Look forward to seeing you on our next video series.